So, good morning, all. Um, Welcome to this weekend session on designing clinical studies using predictive intelligence and clinical prompt system of Swallow Biotech, where we will be discussing about taking idea to real world application. I will show you the demo of predictive intelligence, that how we can utilize predictive intelligence and design clinical trials. So just can you put in a comment box that the voice is clear, you can hear me nicely, and let me share the PPT. So yes, I think I should share the screen. Okay, I'm just sharing the screen. Okay, can you see the PPT? Can you see the PPTs? Okay, I think there is an issue, but okay, I will share the screen. Okay, so I think I need to share the screen. Let me just add the pointer as well. Okay, so it's visible now. Okay, so today we want actually to pass a message that how you can utilize AI in clinical protocol designing, but also executing it. We have already done it in Solar Biotech. We have got product out of it, and I will show you that the tools which we have utilized and what actually you get out of the tools. So that's the purpose of this session today's. So before going towards the session, I will just give you a brief introduction about who we are, what Swallow Biotech is. So So I am from Swallow Biotech. My name is Dr. Praveen Bade. I'm the founder and CEO of Swallow Biotech and Swallow Foundation. So basically, Swallow Biotech is a Irish-based entity formed in 2017, and we are working on small molecules from plant, targeting. Initially, we targeted DNA damage response pathway in skin cancer, breast cancer, and oral cancer. We have got some product in that category, and also nutraceutical and skincare and hair care formulations are there. In 2018, we started with Soil Life Foundation, under which we got now Society and Soil Life Academy, which have arranged this session. And then in 2025, we started Indian entity in India in December 2025, where we bought the product in Indian market, utilizing AI for basic drug discovery till clinical, even with the marketing, and for further development, we are using AI. So my name is Dr. Prema. I'm the founder and co-founder is Mrs. Ashwini Pade. This is our advisory and mentors who are being with Swala Biotech from 2017. So, with this brief introduction, today's agenda, I told you what the purpose is of this session. So, I will go through how the clinical research era is changing, introducing with AI, type of AI, which is developed, and how as a non-engineer, uh, as a science background people, how we can utilize it, how we have utilized it, and then the tools which we have developed, which can be developed by, which can be utilized and developed by the academic science academicians and the student as well. So we want to make sure that when you finish this session, you can collaborate with us, and we can take this research further in the different form based on what we and you can collaborate on. So when we look at the new era of the clinical research, basically the traditional clinical research is slow. Not only the clinical, but even the drug discovery process from basic research till preclinical. It was slow. Doing a lot of uh, fragmented workflows were there. Doing a lot of manual literature review was there. So it was taking time, and due to that time, lot of investment and also a lot of commercialization of the product was taking time. Uh, with the help of the AI now, with the help of the AI powered system, we can now reduce that workload from months to hours and minutes. So we are accelerating the process of literature review, study designing, then analysis of the data, and taking the intelligent research support for understanding the drug, which can be then commercialized and bought in the market, and also the doctors can have the decision support, intelligent research support. What AI cannot do at the moment is that wet lab. There are robots being developed, and there will be addition of that. But yes, wet lab can be still part of the research, and analyzing those data can be done with the AI. But again, human involvement with the human expertise of the knowledge will be always there. So the challenges which we have got with clinical research is mainly about protocol development at the initial stage, and also the literature that is there in the public domain, which is again a major process which the scientist has to do at the initial level to synthesize the relevant information to understand the gap which can actually be utilized in their protocol drafting while they are designing the trial. And it is with the manual work, it is taking weeks and months. So designing is actually taking valuable time. But again, without that, it will be very difficult for having a structural inclusion exclusion criteria, which is very important part of the protocol drafting. And poorly structured of inclusion and exclusion criteria can actually lead to difficulty in enrollment, There will be challenges to involve the participant in the clinical trial. Then also difficult to amend the protocols, and also there will be delays and uh, chances of having compromised study outcome. So with all this, the finance, the budget which has been allocated will actually can create delays, and there will be slow delivery of the trial, and maybe even not having the clear evidences for the project which you are doing. So that challenges are very critical and need to be addressed. So when we are talking about AI, AI is actually helping with all the major challenges that we are facing in the clinical research. So understanding the patterns in the published literature helps in you know understand the information which with the manually is taking a lot of time. So you can understand the pattern from a lot of literature, the data which is available. Simultaneously you can synthesize by utilizing the annotation process from the publications which are already there in public domain relevant to the project that you are doing. So that evidence can be synthesized and a rationale can be produced, so that way you can go for a decision support system to take the clinical trial further. Based on this all information, you can initially design pilot studies, or even feasibility study, or the cohort studies or cross-sectional studies, which are the primary studies which can be utilized to decide that should I go for the scale-up study. So AI is contributing in that. It is not a magic black box, but it is actually a tool which helps perform well-defined cognitive tasks, which can be in the speed and in the scale. That is very important part to understand with AI. It is we are going to talk about yes, the prompt engineering, because based on that only a lot of information that you are getting and lot of process that you are doing with the AI matters on the prompt engineering. So why this AI matters and what it has changed, not only in the clinical research that is in the development, but also in the basic drug discovery process. So majorly when we look, why AI matters, because large volumes of the literature and the data is coming in the public domain, and keeping on top of that manually is difficult, which AI is helping with. Then the recognition of the pattern in that literature is where actually AI is helping, not only summarizing the content, but even with the reading and comparing and identifying the patterns in that literature in the specific area that you are working. You can utilize for that purpose also. Then with that you are bringing the evidence guided drug discovery. So initially when we start with target and lead identification, definitely we do the literature, but as I told you, manually sometimes you cannot actually get all that enormous amount of literature and the pattern from it. So with the help of AI you can actually get that, and you can move your drug discovery and also clinical research, uh, not based on the trial and error, but based on the evidence guided prediction, so that way it can reduce the time and the cost. And the major part of this AI is not just that, but also it is accessible to everyone, students, and also the faculties, and also the research group. You know, so that way you can learn practical AI workflow without and you needing the coding background. So domain knowledge is enough. That key skill will be utilized. So I will be showing you the non-coded tools that we have developing solar biotech, which can be utilized without you can access them. And then we all have also upgraded to agentic AI as well. Now I will show you that as well. So when we look at the traditional research versus AI assisted drug discovery, before, like, I completed my undergraduate bachelor B pharmacy degree in 2004, and 2005-6 I was working. At that time we used to look at the literature in the journal which used to be published and were there in the library. So it was a manual process, and you have to understand the synthesis of the information from the article, and then you were starting developing your scientific critical knowledge, critical thinking out of it, and based on that you were having the the research ideas and hypotheses. It was there for many years, and then as the internet started growing, as the smartphone, as the things started getting, data was coming, and based on that data, different models started developing in the in the artificial intelligence. We are going to discuss about the different type, how actually those develop. But then this is the phase we started like after 2015-16, where rapid data putting in the model and bringing those for general public started, due to which literature mining got faster. Now structural output can be developed, where those structural output can be utilized to compare different models, and you can get the faster insight. So previously doing a literature review and getting something was taking weeks and months. Now it can be done in hours and minutes. So it has speeden up the process. But yes, one thing has not been changed, that is the scientific judgment. So researcher remain essential part of the drug discovery and development, clinical trial, PEV, regulatory affairs, marketing, all the processes. Still, humans are the essential part, because designing the right questions cannot be done by just with the AI. It has to be from the from the human. So validated research question need to be given to the AI, so that way it can generate an output which will be useful for the human being to take the product in the market and also develop the research. But that validation need to be done by the human researchers. Then interpreting of the result, you can use the research assistant, that is the AI, but the interpretation will always with the human involvement in all the part of the drug discovery and development, and also with the clinical context. Ethical and all the other regulatory responsibilities need to be handled by the researcher. One of the main critical consideration when AI is being used is that who will take the responsibility, and there where the human involvement is important. So AI is a research assistant, and it is not replacing any researcher, any scientific judgment and scientific thinking, which has to be done by the humans only. And that's why we are actually organizing this session, so that way the faculty, the student can collaborate, even the research institute can collaborate with Swalife Biotech, so that way we can actually have novel products, novel formulation which can be taken into the market utilizing AI. We are doing that, but again, collaboration can actually build it faster and in the number. So what is this AI? So what is this? Why it is important that we have seen, but what is that AI? So when we are talking from the science perspective, from from the life science and pharmacy, from the healthcare point of view, we are looking at for diagnosing support, for discovery support, for drug development. We are looking for safety and documentation, that can be regulatory, pharmacovigilance, for all that purpose. So majorly the goal from the science point of view is to as an assistant where it can utilize for diagnostic support for the clinician, for the doctors by identifying the data, identifying the images which doctor has got from the lab or from the patient history. So that is one. Literature review I already mentioned. It is for understanding thousands of paper. Then for drug discovery, that is target, pathways, leads, till preclinical. Designing the assays also can be done with AI. And then the safety and documentation. So it is the computational system that is performing the task. Uh, without actually requiring the human, but making sure that it will utilize the prompt engineering. So reasoning can be done like a human way. So it can actually utilize for classifying, predicting, summarizing, and generating the output from the data. So there where AI is being utilized, that is the overall. But there are different types of artificial intelligence, and that need to be understand. We are in the third and fourth part where generative and natural language processors are being used. But there is machine learning area which is a core subset where algorithm is actually learning from the information, learning from the data, and it is having programming which is improving from that the data which has been given earlier. So the machine learning tools are being developed in the diagnosing where cancer can be diagnosed with the images, skin cancer or any skin disease based on the data given to the tool, and it will help in the diagnosing or even analyzing the data by improving itself from the previous data. Now, the second is the deep learning, which is again part of machine learning, where it is a model after the human brain, where it utilizes multiple layer of the neural networks, artificial neural networks, to solve actually a major complex problems. So like automated speech recognition, which is now utilized by uh, in many companies for calling purpose for marketing, but simultaneously in many other areas this automated speech recognition as an example has been utilized. So in our case also, when you got images or if you are doing a clinical trial which is a decentralized and patient is actually at the home, you can utilize speech biomarkers to actually identify the clinical symptoms or clinical parameters output from the patient. Then the third is the generative AI, where advanced algorithms are trained on massive data sets, which are there, and the relevant text and images can be created, audios and videos can be created using the simple prompts. And definitely, all of you must be using this because even with the Google search also they got Google AI into it, and that is an example of generative AI where if you putting text, it is giving you the information which is not, it's not giving you the search now, but it is giving the information. So basic information is there, and then you can go into much deeper with the further prompts you can give to them. Now, the major part which for us is that using natural language processing, that is enabling the computer system to analyze, develop, translate, or synthesize the information using the natural human language. So, if you look, I mentioned earlier as well that developing a tool which was very difficult previously 2020, even the website, the Swallow Biotech, all the website are developed by myself, and I don't have any background of the coding, but I'm using the natural language processing and the generative AI, that is the large language models, to actually create the codes, and based on that we actually got the website. Yes, it can be done very nicely by the expert, but what we want, we got that, and based on that we can improvise, and based on same thing happen with the machine learning tools also. Based on that, once you got the minimum viable product and you got someone who is interested in that, you can always improvise them and you can take it further. So it is very important that looking the artificial intelligence not only from the end point of view, but understanding the areas in which artificial intelligence can be utilized and type of the artificial intelligence is very important. So one of the thing which I mentioned at third and fourth type is the large language models. So that large language models have changed the utilization of AI for non-coders, for science background, and many other areas who don't know how to code. And so it is very important that you understand what is a large language model. So large language models learns patterns from enormous amount of text and generate language based on answers. So it is a predictive and actually generative model where the engine behind it is a modern AI tool which can be utilized in research and healthcare. So if you look at these large language models, definitely you must have used ChatGPT, Gemini, Cloud, Perplexity, DeepSeek, Queen. Many other models are available for your maybe scientific writing, for your data analysis, even for reasoning. So it helps in understanding the complex biomedical or even life sciences, pharma questions, and it can also give you step by step logical explanation, which is very important when you are actually trying to understand the information which is there in public domain, or the information which is data which you got from your wet lab. So that reasoning power is there, summarizing the long text content. So the platform like Notebook LLM, that is again Google's one of the very nice platform where you can actually utilize it to understand YouTube videos, even long text research papers, even content which you want to actually it is in the text format. You can put them in video or audio format, and then you can listen to it to understand that okay, how this is how it works. So getting information and utilizing, so major part now with the content creation and with the information, it has been resolved. The major part is that thinking it from the research point of view, scientific point of view, is with you, and you need to utilize it because the information is now easily available. It can be easily understandable, but you need to put that into scientific way, which will be benefiting your research and also the people. That is the public domain, and that is very important part, that who you are trying to take this information towards. So uh, it can do, the large language can do that. With the prompt workflow, you can, with the structural prompt, you can do literature mining, target identification, and reporting. So initially, the predictive intelligence platform, which I will be showing to you, was developed to put the prompt workflow in a format, so that way when we do the research, it will have a standard formats of the prompt, and we will have a standard format of the report, which can be utilized for the next step of the research. So with the predictive medicine, we will go for based on the outcome, we'll go for the clinical, or we can go for preclinical. So once we decide to go for clinical, we will have a scientific prompt studio which will help us to actually design the clinical trials, which the type of clinical trial which we want to do. That will be based on the predictive intelligence. Now, when we are, as I told you, we developed the prompt studio because we wanted to have the unique prompt for each product. And to do that, you need to understand how the prompt engineering work. It is a big area. I will try to, give you simple answer from the scientific point of view. And I, instead of saying prompt engineering, I because for science we are using, so I always say that as a scientific prompting. So it is basically a art of asking the right question. So majorly if you don't have the clarity, definitely you will have difficulty in giving the proper scientific prompt, giving the proper right question. So let's say, for example, I've given an example here that you want to work into cancer area. If you ask the LLM, tell me about cancer, it is not going to stop there. It will give you the answer, but it will be a vague one, it will be a generic one, and it will be unfocused one. Now, when you are starting in the field, definitely tell me about cancer as a researcher. That is not you are going to start with. You will have some background for that, and that's why you need to design your scientific prompt in such a way that AI can give you a, a more structural format answer which will be useful for you to take it further. So this was the first step for us as well when we started in 2021-22 utilizing the large language model, that whenever you start using the large language, any chat GPT or perplexity, uh, let's say for example you say tell me about cancer, it is going to give you the answer, and then next you start again giving the prompt, you start giving the prompt and you lose in the process. So to avoid that, we actually developed the tools where the prompts were designed as per our requirement. But before that, we understand that there is a process called scientific prompting or prompt engineering, which develops the better prompt. That is to, give a well-structured prompt to the large language model in the format that you first define the role of your, question which you want to ask, then give the context. Based on the context, you will give the task, and then you will give the output. So let's say, for example, here I gave you an example for better prompt. Identify the inflammatory targets. So that is the what the LLM need to do. Now here I have not given the role, but I can tell that you are a senior pharmacological researcher, or you can, if you are working on formulation, you can say about formulation. So role will be defined. Then I will say identify inflammatory targets involved in the oral cancer. Then I will give the uh, you know um, the task that it will summarize the evidences in a format that will be the output in a structural table with the confidence level. So that is again a process where you need to make sure that every scientific prompt which you give to, develop the research framework, you should use the process of scientific prompting. So here is an example, simple example. I told you about the role. You should give a role: pharmacologist, clinical researcher, drug discovery, and regulatory writer, based on what you want to develop in your research. Then the context, then the task, and then the output. Output can be table, report, JSON, protocols, checklist, dashboard. That is where your critical scientific role comes, and that is important. That's what I'm trying to say. AI, the tools, even our tools, is not going to do everything, but your role as a critical, as a researcher, as a scientist, scientific thinker is important there. So this is the example of bad prompt and good prompt, like give information on curcumin drug discovery prompt, like act as a discovery, identify target for oral cancer, and explain evidences. So it is a proper way of giving the prompts where you will get the info. Now, when we are talking about from the research point of view, told you about bad and good. Same thing happen when you are developing the non-coded tools as well. Many time what happens that we actually hit the wall. Why? Because the bad prompts are given to the large language model, and the tools which have been developed are not useful. So that has happened, and I also have gone through it. So there are about 15 tools we have developed in different categories, from data analysis to basic drug discovery till marketing, and even in the uh, you know article scientific writing also we have got to where you can put into the format of the article. So while developing that, definitely your scientific prompt, your prompt engineering help you to get that content. So we'll come back to now the AI discovery pipeline, which has changed the normal process, and that process of 10 to 15 years now has been reduced. And due to the reduction of the timeline, it has also reduced the the financial burden which was there in the drug discovery and development. So automating the information where you can identify the disease and the target can be done faster. Pathways linking to the your target, you can understand them faster now. Then designing the molecules or isolating or developing the analogs for your targets which you have got can be done faster. You can rank them as per their therapeutic candidates use. Also, uh, you can reduce the in silico studies as well with the help of AI. Then clinical trial designing can be done by doing the structural eco type of um, prompting, where the protocol designing, then executing the protocols, then analyzing the data and having the information which can be required for the safety monitoring, regulatory, and also registering your product can be now done with the help of the AI. So major of the areas are covered, and in the predictive intelligence we have got some of the areas which we get with the help of the scientific prompt. So, as I told you, all the 15 tools which fit in the drug discovery and development, majorly predictive intelligence and clinical prompt studio are the tools which I will be showing you and how we are utilizing you in the our product development, but also pharmacovigilance studio, regulatory studios are there which are being utilized in the further drug development. So I will be showing you the demo of the predictive intelligence tool now, which actually looks like this. But then I will give you the glimpse of our agentic predictive intelligence tool, which actually now I will show you the first one, so you will understand that how this agentic work, because it is utilizing the large language model inside the tool and giving us the information. So let's start with the predictive intelligence demo. These are the steps which I will be doing. So if you have any question also, you can put them in comment box. So you can see. Okay, so this is the predictive intelligence tool that we use at the initial stages. Based on this, we go for clinical or preclinical studies with the molecule, with the formulation, or with the combination of the molecules. So you start here. You can put molecule. You can put, if you're working on the herbal, you can put herbal compound. If you're working with small molecules uh, from plant, you can put that. If you're working on any synthetic molecule, you can put the similar category of the compound there to get the literature relevant to what you have got or you planning to do. You can do that. So for this demo, I will go with let's say weed grass. Um, Wheatgrass plant. Now I am actually starting with a plant and I want to develop a formulation with the plant with the small molecules from plant. So the starting point will be plant before actually going for doing any lab work. We will be using this tool. The disease wise, we will going for oral cancer and we will be creating gel and regulatory wise as well. So basically, when you look, as I told you, it is a prompt studio. If you look at the prompt, it gives in the prompt the regulatory as well. So it is very important that based on the regulatory which you are planning to develop the product, you should put the regulatory. For this purpose, I will keep global target population 40 to 60 study type. You can add different, but initially because we are starting from zero, it will be literature review, and it is for demo purpose. You can add some notes if you want to add here, and then you have to save it. So if you before saving, I will show the prompt is from the previous information. Once I save it, okay, the prompt studio is still from the old one, but it has now changed with the all these four modules which we have got, which does literature mining. Then second one does AI discovery and study design. If you see, it actually get information for target, lead, study design for in vitro, in vivo, then for clinical, then decentralized clinical trial, PV, regulatory, IPR, and marketing. For the the wheatgrass and the disease, and for the gel, then we go for predictive analytics, where synthesized literature is helping to discover based on the scores and the rule and weight model. And you will be developing a dashboard. I will show you with our product that what we have developed, and the predictive medicine, which is taking information from predictive analyticals and building a personalized monitoring and safety first guideline, where based on that the clinician, if it's for if it decided to go for clinical, then it will be for clinician, otherwise it will be for us to decide for going for preclinical. So, starting with first the literature review, I have given the project context which has been saved. I have to then load the first prompt for complete evidence pack. Once I click on load, you will see the template of the scientific prompt has been changed. And this is the role. You are a pharma R&D scientist analyst for Solar Biotech. Build a complete structural evidence pack for the herb which we have given, wheatgrass oral cancer gel for global and 40 to 60. It has given the rules what it has to do, and it has given the deliverables what deliverables it has to give. Once you got the prompt, you can copy that prompt, and you have got all these large language models here. Now these are we will be doing on the platform, so they are not actually running inside our tools. They will be running on their own platform, because the API they will be using will be from the account which we have got. So you will be then coming and adding that complete prompt. here where you have to do deep research. But for this demo purpose, I will just do a search. Still, with just basic search, also you can see that it is going to bring specific information that we have given in the prompt for regarding the wheatgrass and oral cancer in the gel context, and it will give you the to take it further into the AI discovery, which will give us the information based on the first literature mining process. So now you can see all this information we have asked about the basic disease, the key phenotype, clinical endpoint, then regarding the plant, if there was a molecule, it would have given us regarding the molecule, the chemistry, then the mechanism map of the plant which have got the small molecules in it. So based on this, I can further, instead of going with the plant, I can go with the molecule. I can go analog of those molecule as well. Then evidence summary, it has given in vitro what we have got with that plant or that molecule or that combination. Human evidences also, it goes through safety, practical risk, and the formulation consideration. So here we are going for gel. So it is giving us information that consider chemically diverse, or standardized hydroalcoholic or aqueous rich acid may be easier to reproduce. So it is also giving us information that instead of gel, what we can do. But if you are going for gel, what type of extraction can be done, and the key formulation point. So as I told you, getting information is not very hard now, and also getting in the structural format is not very hard. What is hard is having the scientific thinking, scientific expertise to actually utilize them with your, further research and development of your product, recommended essays and other things. And this is when you have just done the search and not at the deep research. So it has given us the basic 12 to 15 references that we have asked in our prompt. And you can see it has referred about 26 sources. If you do deep research, it might give you go more deeper. And once you got this, you need to now the next step is to actually take the copy of this information, and you go back in the Chrome Studio. Now the situation was this, that we got the information, but again, it is the content is very long and it is not in the format. So how should I utilize it? So for that purpose, we put them again into uh, the predictive from studio, and you can see that it was there already. Then on 12th of May there is one run already there. Once I put the answer of the prompt here, I have to save the run, which changed now to June 13th. So once it is there, it is taking this information to now run as a prompt. So you need to change the level to the structural output. You can see that the prompt which is here is from the previous one, that is you are pharma R&D scientific analyst, and you are building. So it is still there. Once you load it, it has changed now. Your scientific data curator convert the following literature mining output into strict structured data. But remember that it is still the content is still not here. You can see the input from source prompt is not here yet. You need to click on here build structuring prompt. Once you click, you can see now it is giving you the additional as a data curator, it is also giving you the additional role which has been from the first prompt, and all the information that you have collected using the large language model is now here in the form of the prompt. So you don't have to now manually design the scientific prompt each time and then run while doing your literature review. So you then copy this prompt, and then you can go back to the previous, and you are pasting it here and then running it. Now in this you need to do deep research, but for this demo purpose I am doing it direct search. That is the information from the literature for wheatgrass, oral cancer, and for the gel. And we have got now that information in the text form and in also the in the table format, which is important now. When you run the second one, you can see that. So whatever information you got in the first, it has put in executive summary, compound table in a table format, target table, safety table, and regulatory claims. So it gives now you a complete picture. JSON file is also created, which can be utilized for any other LLMs. So it gives you a structural picture now from the literature, from the data which you got from the first prompt. And with this second one, you will have a dashboard there, which you will be understanding that where actually wheatgrass in oral cancer as a starting point is sitting. Once you got that information, that is your first step. Now in the second step, you go for AI discovery. So now in the literature mining, you are getting for targets and leads, but with the AI discovery and study designing, those leads, those targets are utilized to take it further if there is any information available about the clinical PV or even the in vitro. If it's not, then it will design the study for clinical, PV, regulatory, and even with the IPR. So you can see here again, you will be designing the prompt to get the cross-functional drug discovery and development workflow, where your prompt is already there for oral cancer, wheatgrass. So you will go with the first target and lead hypothesis development. You will load that. Once you load it, you will see that it is now you are an AI discovery scientist. Using the evidences for all this and the evidences from here, you will have a prompt which will be, you are going to copy it from here, and you will be running under the same large language model, under the same literature mining, because it is going to refer the previous as well in that same large language model. Now here there are three prompts. So one is for the target, lead, and hypothesis. Second is for the preclinical to complete IPR and everything, and then both will be pasted here for a structural discovery outcome. So it will then give us the prompt for structural discovery outcome. Okay, so you need to run both. Once we got the, here is the information from the first one. Okay, so we will keep it like that only. Now we will go for the second one. We will load it. Okay, but before going for second, you have to build the DST. For that, you are going to use the information which you have got from the first one, which you will be copying from here, and you will be pasting it here, which will be save run. It has changed to 13, and then based on that, you will have the DST. Okay, no, it's not. Okay, so it has to be actually DST 1B, which is loaded, and it has to be run if actually you put the claim. So here again, it is leading a cross-functional drug discovery and development. So it is a development process where you will be getting information about the clinical as well. So discovery will be there, preclinical and clinical will be there, which and also the 90 days execution plan for clinical purpose. You will be copying that from, you will be adding that here, and you will be running as a deep research. Complete information of logic till the clinical 90 days plan. So then you are going to copy this as well. So I got uh, data from the previous one which I have pasted here, and now with the clinical also I will paste the next one here. Once I paste this one, I will then save that one which is here given, and based on that I will go for DSI2, which will be then loaded. But loading is not going to, loading will change it to data curator, but it is not giving the complete data here. For that I need to click on build structural prompt. So it has built now the structural prompt for the data curation purpose, adding the complete information from both the prompts. Once I got that, you copy that and you go with the large language model. Here I'm using Perplexity. You can use Gemini, Cloud, or DeepSeek as well. Okay, so now it will put this into a in a format by doing the data curation. So that's the second step. Once you have got the literature mine and the AI discovery, these two information you will be utilizing in the predictive analysis. So the data curation is for your purpose where your critical thinking will be used, but we are still going to use the AI for predictive analytical. And for the predictive analytical, you can see it has actually got uh, synthesized literature and discovery into analytical pack, where you will be loading this and you will be utilizing the information that you have got in the first and the second one. Okay, here you can see that it is there, the old one, predictive analytical. But once upload both, it will build the analytical prompt from the information that you got from the literature mining and AI discovery, that is all is here now. And then this prompt will now we'll see what it has given in the previous one. It has given us in the structural format of the data, which can be utilized now. Preclinical plan has given, lead candidate has been given, in vivo, in vitro, and clinical observational studies which you can plan has been given with inclusion exclusion criteria, which are important part we will be discussing in the clinical next part as well. And all this IPR with the marketing and all the claims and the 90 days plan it has given us in the structural format. So now this is your second structural data which you got. But now with this information, we will be going for predictive analytical purpose, which will be with the help of reports from literature and discovery. You will be copying the prompt and you will be putting that in the large language model. And you will ask it to the. So once you got that, you will be adding that information here to put them into structural format. So there will be two type of document. One will be the raw, which you got from the prompt, and the second one will be the structural format, which you will be creating two documents. Now, the next step. So I am not showing you the structural format because based on the data which you will get in the predictive analytical with the help of the LLMs, which is still working, you will put that here and you will use the structural format. But when you go for predictive medicine, you got now here run from the analytical, that is the previous run which we will be doing for the structural format one, and then you are going to just load one and you will have the prompt to be run in the large language model. So this is how you actually leads towards mining the literature from, let's say, 100 article draft to actually having a dashboard, having a structural format which gives you a clear picture of your molecule, of your herb, of your formulation, and what targets, what formulations, what studies, clinical, preclinical, and what is available in pharmacovigilance, regulatory, and in the market. It's give you the complete picture of that. So that's how it works when you start from the basic, and that's why we make sure that we are utilizing it with all our formulations that Swalife has developed. So that is the Prompt Studio. And as I told you that we have moved now, all this manually, copying prompt and putting now has been changed into the agentic one, where if I'm working on, let's say, the skin melasma for disease, we are going to add additional diseases there. I will be putting melasma. I will be putting information from the patient, the age, uh, female. I would have to put these symptoms. Let's say some of the symptoms which are there in melasma, high sun express stress is there. And once you put that, I confirm this output. I got this output from the patient, and then I run the predictive code. Now this is going to run all the AI engines that I showed you in the manual one, that it will do. While doing that, I am using the model of GPT here. I have got engines here where I am using I'm using the ChatGPT model, and you can see it has run all these the agents and giving me the information based on the content, clinical content which I have got, and then it is giving me the uh, network of targets. Evidence intelligence is giving me information about what is available in the journal meta-analysis. The ID is there. You can go and check the literature. Then it is if you upload the images, there is an option there. You can also upload the images. If you upload the images, it will running the images as well. Based on what information was provided, it is suggesting the biomarkers. Uh, Also, future monitoring also it is giving me product matching for that. It is giving me for that disease. So when the researchers are using this, lot of information about that disease connecting to what is available in the and what we can develop can be understand. Predictive scoring can be understand, and a complete predictive decision medicine intelligent report is been created, which can be utilized for the further studies. You can also the doctors can also add their insight here. The clinician, uh, the, the clinical research going on, the patient information can be added. So it is for clinical trial as well. Based on all this, you can generate the AI hypothesis can be done, and then it moves towards the regulatory intelligence as well for US, EU, and then India. And additional to that, we can add. So that's the agentic one created with non-code based on the requirement that we have got, and that is where our model is ready to take it further. Now, with the help of this manual one, I told you that we already have our own product done with the manual one, and this is the for the our skincare portfolio. This is the outcome which you will be getting. And for the serum, I will show you. If you open the serum predictive medicine, it is giving me this information which has been isolated from the public domain, which I was showing you in the perplexity. All this information that we got in the perplexity, now we put that into a dashboard where safety overview we get about the serum, where we didn't put just the serum, we put all the ingredients which are there in the serum, and based on that we have got the information. So all these ingredients are there. Then also user adherence breakdown it has given us, with also the information about if there will be any issues with the irritation, sunscreen adherence, and the efficacy score, and the steward block which was there in the information that we have got from the large language, similar to all the others like face wash, face cream, face scrub, and face pack as well, which are generally used by the people. But simultaneously we are not connecting face scrub and pack only for the general use, but we are connecting it with the melasma disease, or even with the UV induced skin damage or any skin problem. So that way we can tell that if you use this face pack, it might actually work on this target, and it will create a activity in collaboration with the cream or with the product which we have got. So that way it will be useful for the patient. So that's how the formulation and the tools have been utilized. Okay, so we finished the first part, that is using predictive intelligence now to get the information for the clinical research purpose. Now you reach to the information where you deciding should I go for preclinical or for clinical work. And in our case, it was clinical, so we went for AI assistant clinical studies, similar to what logic we used for initial basic research. We used that for uh, clinical studies as well, even for preclinical, for clinical, pharmacovigilance, regulatory affairs. I told you that we have got tools for that, so that way we can take the product, the complete product in the market. So that was understanding the targets, so we can take it further into the clinical validation. And for our product, it was about clinical research, where we utilizing the decentralized trials. I will be showing you the platform. So information from the or you will say evidences that we collected from the AI that they have mapped in the predictive intelligence is utilized to understand the feasibility of the clinical work, clinical research that we can design. So translating that discovery into human study we have done based on the information that we have got. in the public domain. If there is no enough preclinical information available, then we design the preclinical studies, and in our lab we perform that for making sure that we can have enough data that we can take it into the in the clinical research. So all the formulation that we have got, we had enough preclinical studies, but we also done some preclinical studies to make sure that toxicity, mainly the toxicity, because the bioactivity wise it was already, we knew that this small molecules are mainly from plant, so the concentration is important, and that's why toxicity studies were done on different models, in vitro and in vivo models that we have got. And then we moved into first in the patient, utilizing our Swalike prompt studio, designing different observational studies, which helps in understanding the designing of the large scale studies. So we design cross sectional clinical studies, then pilot and feasible clinical studies to understand the proof of concept of those formulation, and the cohort studies. So in cross-sectional study, we look at the single point. In pilot study, we understand that is it feasible for taking it for the scale up, and in cohort at different point, we are looking the activity. So when we are talking about clinical study, there are major part of the protocol designing. I showed you in predictive intelligent output of AI also that there were a lot of information given by the large language model due to the scientific prompt that we have designed, which are useful in designing the clinical trial. But we have also got separate prompt studio for each clinical trial. I will be showing the demo of that as well. But the major part of any clinical trial is the inclusion exclusion criteria, also understanding the risk stratification and the recruitment planning. The studio actually help to get information about that specific clinical trial, and all this information we are gathering using the large language model. So if there is no information, then based on the literature available for that or any other similar compound, we actually make sure that the predictive models are utilized to understand the risk of the clinical work, and also recruitment plan are designed based on that. It helps inclusion exclusion criteria, and because these are the generative and predictive models, if something is not available, it will give you, based on the generative, your role as a researcher to get the critical thinking, scientific thinking in action. You actually make sure that you identify the articles which are been studied for similar type of drug, and compare and look the inclusion exclusion criteria of your protocol. Then the clinical endpoint, with the observational studies, mostly we are doing the decentralized clinical trials. So the primary endpoints are majorly the observationals done at the patient level, which have been reported by the patients. Primary outcomes are mainly, detecting meaningful effect in the size, which have been supported by the secondary endpoint for efficacy and safety of those primary endpoint. We are not including biomarkers at this stage with the observational, but yes, predictive biomarkers are there, voice-based biomarkers are there, which we are utilizing from the patient with the help of the patient-reported outcomes, which are validated with the telehealth platform. I will be showing that as well, that what we are using to capture the real-world information reported by the patient. So in the decentralized clinical trial, in our case, decentralized observational clinical trial, we are actually doing it by remote involvement of the patient, where digital screening and eligibility is verified. Then we are making sure that e-consents are taken with the help of the interactive, or in the form of the audited informed consent. I will be showing you on the platform. And then we schedule the healthcare consultation with the doctors, with the consultant, and then monitoring is done digitally of the symptoms and the reported information. So validating those digital endpoints are done with the help of the tool, and that's where the decentralized observational study comes, which remove actually geographical barrier. So that way you can increase the diversity of the participant in the study by enrolling people from different areas, different countries, and touching them remotely. So these are some of the data capturing. We are not using all, but we are using the ePro, then digital imaging, and the mobile app. Not the complete mobile app; it is the web app with the live consultation. In process of variables and also cloud databases. Cloud database is the important part because it makes sure that the compliance of the regulatory is done. So it has to be audit ready. There is no, um, ethical and compliance issue shouldn't be there, and data should be well protected. So that's where regulatory and compliance comes. And it's very important. So this is the framework of the clinical work that we do. We capture the insight using AI that I showed you with the predictive intelligence. Then we validate this finding against the literature and data, apply clinically, and then we go for publication first with patent and then in the literature. And we actually make sure that we are utilizing in developing the scientific prompt studio, which can be more specifically for all those category of the uh, formulation that we are developing, and also for the diagnosing purpose. So that's the framework we are using for clinical and for the further formulation development. So the Swallow Clinical Prompt Studio is an interface which is non-coded. I showed you the predictive intelligence. It is similar to that, but this is little bit different. In predictive, you get a lot of already content which is useful directly to start with the prompt studio. It is a non-code. It can be utilized by without any technical background. Generate complete set of the protocol information which you can utilize and design and use that protocol for further studies. So I will be showing you the prompt studio. It look like this, and the telehealth platform where the virtual consultation of the candidates who have been in the trial is done. So I will go through that. So this is the prompt studio where you can do about uh, 10, 10 types of different observational or some intervention clinical study designing utilizing the Soul Life Clinical and Evidence Prompt Studio. It is generating about 100 prompts which are linked directly to the type of the clinical protocol that you are designing. So let's say, for example, if we decided that based on the information that we have got in the predictive intelligence, we will go for now with the feasibility study. You can put feasibility. You can select feasibility study. You will add. So what was our was wheatgrass. So wheatgrass and oral cancer. So oral cancer is already there, and I will be going for gel prepared with the wheatgrass. So if you see the prompts which were already there, they were for systematic review and meta-analysis on oral cancer using curcumin. But once I asked to generate for my feasibility study, it will change the prompt. So it will draft the core feasibility objective for a feasibility study in oral cancer using wheatgrass gel. Clarify what you are trace testing, tele consent, remote assessment, workflow, variables, staff loading, all other information. and define what feasibility to scale means operationally. So that prompt I'm going to get, I will copy this and I will utilize in the large language model, and it will give me the information about the oral cancer and video culture. Now the second prompt will connect the first one. The first one is there, but it will turn the previous concept into an SOP style procedure with step-by-step action, responsible goals, minimum documentation required, and escalation triggers. I'm not running the prompts here, but I'm explaining that the prompts are interconnecting the protocol which you are trying to design from the information that you have already got from the predictive intelligence. So predictive intelligence information you are connecting with the Swalife prompt studio, which has been giving you the information about the designing of the feasibility study. Once you got all this information, what you will be doing next? You will be going on the e-protocol writing platform, which is there from National Institute of Health. It is for clinical e-protocol writing tool, which works for your team in collaboration. You can write. If you collaborate with us, we can write the protocols. You just need to sign in by signing up with your emails. So we have done that. So once you got the information from the Swallow Prompt Studio and Predictive Intelligence, you come here and you can see that we have already got protocol design for different studies. I will show you one of it. So I will show you for not for hair oil, I will do it for serum only. So there is a protocol here for serum, which will give you all the which need to be there in the protocols. So these are all the parts which need to be filled, and you are getting all that from the from the prompt studio prompts using the LLM. So you start with the protocol summary instead of going here. You can add your team member here, so you manage your team. So principal investigator, then you can the author will be different person. You can also have a reviewer different person before it comes to you. And once everything is done, you can actually preview the protocol here, that all parts have been filled by the author, and you can see that it is giving us starting from the study rationale, background, risk benefit assessment, which you will get from your from studios from, so with the help of large language model, for the information which is available. If it's not available, there where your scientific thinking will come while filling the protocol which you want to design for your formulation or the molecule which you want to develop. All this then will be filled in this, and your protocol is ready to directly put on submit to clinicaltrial.gov once it is sanctioned by the committee. Okay, so that's about the getting information from the predictive intelligence with the help of the prompt studio. You will get the designing information. So the output of your clinical intelligence is study design, that is the protocol and all the aim and the populations which will be there. Then SOPs will be generated to execute the protocol, how to collect the data, demographical areas and other parameters. Then quality and validation information will be there with ethical and risk and the type of analysis and report you should prepare for the complete protocol clinical research which you will be completing at the end after collecting the data. So the pipeline start with the research idea. Utilizing predictive intelligence, you get the information. Utilizing the Swala prompt, clinical prompt studio, you get the information where you design the study, upload on the protocol designing platform, Then once the protocol is sanctioned is in the public domain, you execute the protocol and start collecting the data. You analyze, you get the information, understand the quality and ethic point of the studies, and you combine that information which you will be validating first, so that way the complete clinical work is done. You are utilizing AI as an assistant to increase the speed of all this process. Yes, the execution and data collection will be in certain time period and there will be time needed, but it will speed up the previous and end of the protocol with your scientific judgment, and you will have a result which will be rigorous, reproducible, and ready for the regulatory purpose, and also for when you design for the ethical committee review purpose as well. So with this information what we discussed for last 1.5 hour, the purpose is not to tell you that AI is going to come and it is going to replace the researcher, but the purpose is that you increase your research skill, scientific skill, but you also understand that how AI is evolving, so that way you can use it as a research assistant to develop rigorous consistency and completeness of your research thinking, so that way you can catch the gaps which can be difficult sometimes as even as a research experienced researcher, by designing, developing a standardized way of a system building for developing standardized protocols or standardized, scientific hypothesis generation, or designing critical clinical interpretation. All this can be done with the AI, in the addition with the human researcher in place, while using the AI. So that is very important part to understand from there. So what you can do now, to take it further, you can design the clinical study. I showed you our tools, but there is no need. You can use directly in the large language model, but you will need to have a standardized scientific prompts which you will utilize for designing the clinical study. Develop the protocol which can be sanctioned by the committee and it can be run. Then, with the help of that, you can develop your research project, which can be useful to collaborate with companies simultaneously, fetch the grants for your research work. You can publish them in the format of patent simultaneously as a clinical studies and also as a research articles. So, if we look where this is leading with the AI in clinical research, mainly we have seen it that with Swalife we have utilized it for protocol designing, automating data collection, using intelligent for quality monitoring, and also for standardized practice, which will leads toward development of predictive medicine, where models will be trained with the help of the clinical data, also predictive data, so that way treatment response can be predicted before actually given to the patient. Even the adverse event can be predicted before given to the patient. Development of personalized healthcare will be the future with this type of the technologies, where genomic profilings are available or will make available for the patient, and real-time biomarkers can be targeted with the AI, so delivering of a precise medicine can be possible. Now, before ending this, I want to also show you the Swalife Clinical Intelligence Platform. Again, similar to Predictive, we have got Clinical Intelligence Platform. It is a hub where again there are agentic AIs, but this is different. Here, actually, these are being utilized directly to fill the clinical part of the patient. So, clinical data, majorly for the consultancy purpose, will be utilized. I will just show you the glimpse, and then you can actually understand that what I'm trying to say. Okay, I forgot to show you the Solife telehealth also, which is for the consultancy purpose. Even we are using for clinical trial where you add the study trial ID, which are been created from the protocol, the participant ID, the screening. If you are doing screening, baseline, follow-up, and schedule, you can do here. So let's we will put some 001 for screening. Okay, let's put the name we can put, and here is the confirmation of the informed consent taken from the person. You tick it and you start the the virtual. You can see that it is going to connect with the the platform, and once it is connect, you do the one-to-one. Uh, because my session is going on, that's why it is not going to connect this with this browser, but it get connect, and you can take the online consultancy here, and you can record the clinical notes and the adverse event. Once it is done, end the visit you end the visit and you submit to the server. So that's how it works. At the moment we didn't fill any, it is in the process. So that is where the uh, virtual visit is done. Similar to that, we have got uh, the updated version. We have connected AI to this, which will run the platform connecting to the API uh, from the models. So here you start with this. This is the dashboard, initial dashboard. Here you start with the consultancy. Once you click on new patient, new patient, you enter the new patient information. So let's say we will do this, and you will add symptoms. Let's say pain. You will. We have got some formulations of pain management. I will do. Then I will add my other things. The doctor will do this. And based on this, the doctor is evaluating the patient, but simultaneously you can actually have AI to actually generate based on all this information the AI clinical summary, which is being done by the agent, clinical agent, and it is giving us the information. So it move further into evidence and research concern is taken and the concern is recorded, and then we move further into the consultancy and the doctor's network. So this is another updated version of the clinical research we have developed for conducting that specific type of clinical trial with the doctors, the clinician on board, and with the help of AI agent, we are connecting the platform. So that's about the uh, clinical intelligence which will be utilized. So, as I told you, that AI is not going to replace the scientist, but definitely AI-driven scientists having skill will replace others who actually are not utilizing it in their areas. So that's the message of the end of the session I want to give. So Solar Biotech is working on that with Solar Farm Academy, in Solar Foundation, Solar Academy, and society. We are trying to bring what Solar Biotech has got and what you can do with us in the form of academy and in the form of the society. We have got so life consultancy services where we give AI services and also lab services, and we have got biotrace publications. So there we do book, and we have got 5 journals in different categories where you can publish your articles. So that's about the Swalife complete ecosystem. If you have any question, I'm open to answer your questions. You can put them in the comment section, and I will take that questions. So, any question? Please add your questions in the comment box. Okay, so if there are no any questions, while registering, we have given you the group link. You can be in the groups. We every month we have sessions, we have workshops. We also have offline project-based internship program. Again, I will say that purpose is to understand that how drug discovery and the healthcare and the pharma field is changing and how we are utilizing it. So let's collaborate, be connected, and work together. Thank you.